Live from Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is the K12 Tech Talk podcast, and I'm at the 2026 K12 SIX National K12 Cybersecurity Leadership Conference, hanging out with Josh and Mark. Just kidding. Josh didn't show. We're used to that. But Mark was going to come, and Boston, Massachusetts, whatever, New England is supposedly getting a lot of snow. So Mark's flight got canceled, and it's just me here. But I am excited to be here. I just spent the last 2 hours talking about passwords. Mark had signed us up to do a 2-hour workshop to discuss student passwords, the future of student passwords. And then, of course, he bailed, like I said. So it was just me with a room full of folks excited to talk about passwords, said no one ever. But we spent 2 hours talking about passwords, talking about the future, had a great time. And that kind of just, for me, sets the tone of what I think this conference is going to be about. It's all about cybersecurity. So I'm hanging out here for the next couple days in Albuquerque, New Mexico with K12 SIX. I see some Managed Methods, David, down the way. We'll talk to him, a proud sponsor of the K12 Tech Talk podcast. I've seen a couple friends from New Hampshire here, a couple friends from K12 Tech Pro here. So I'm excited for this event and happy that they're having us here. Doug was walking around earlier, excited to talk to him at some point as well. So hang out with me again at K12 SIX, the Cybersecurity Conference. We'll do several interviews. That's what this special episode is all about. All right, I'm hanging out with Corey Rankin. Corey, you came up to the booth. We started talking about K12 SIX admin, the subreddit. You're on there, but I was looking at your lanyard too, and you're a K12 SIX member. So I want to unpack all of that with you just for a couple minutes. So how's it going today?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to meet you, and I'm just, excited to be part of the community, and that's why I came over.
Is this your first K12 SIX conference?
Yes, it is. I've always wanted to come, but I hadn't had the ability to do so in the past, so really wanted to connect. Cool.
So let's talk about your past. I guess, who are you? Give me your quick K12 Tech story, where you're at today, where you've been.
Sure. So my first life started in sales, funny enough, retail sales.
Boo.
Did that for 10 years, hated it, but learned a lot of good things about connecting people.
Sure.
and talking. Was convinced to join the K12 IT community, and I thought, well, I can't do this. I'm the neighborhood IT guy, right? But was convinced, came on to a school district as a technician, worked
Nice.
my way up to engineer, assisted managing the engineers, assistant director, and then director most recently. So that was a 12-year stint in a school district of 24,000.
Cool.
And then in the last month, pivoted over to running the cybersecurity program for the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction.
Nice. So you are here with that department. And then is that what you're a K12 SIX member of?
Yes.
And then I think you said you're new to being a member. Can you unpack that a little bit? There's a lot of people here that aren't members. You can see that on their lanyards, but you are. Can you just unpack, and I know it's year one for you, but what is the benefit of that membership?
Sure. I really just wanted to be a part of the community, to be able to contribute, to be able to access some of the resources that you have to do so, but really be part of the bigger picture.
Yep.
I believe cybersecurity is a team sport, and this is the entity who is doing it across the nation instead of the silos that we all end up.
Yep. Yeah, there's some great information sharing that goes on with K12 SIX. And even with the keynote today, they were mentioning these resources that they created for members, but they just put it out there because of the good of the cause for the K12.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right, well, Corey, nice to meet you, and I'm glad you stopped by for a few minutes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Eaton. You can check out Eaton at eaton.com. They make what matters work. They can help you out with your power management solutions, your UPSs, your battery backups, and all that good stuff. We're going to be hanging out with Eaton for the next few weeks. That's eaton.com. They make the podcast episode and trips like this possible for us as well. So check out Eaton. All right, I'm hanging out with Dr. Tim Tillman. Tim, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
So we were just talking about cybersecurity because we're at the K12 SIX conference. That makes sense.
It does.
So would you tell me about yourself? Give me a little bit of background, and then what brings you to K12 SIX?
Sure. So I have been in academic technology for 32 years. Started at the actual school system that I graduated from, and because they needed somebody to come in and fix all the mistakes that I made as a student. So
Right.
I learned how to hack in the mid '90s on a Novell network that wasn't well protected. But since
Novell was great. stuff,
Novell,
though.
I love NetWare so much. And token ring networks. I've spent most of my career trying to be an evangelist for cybersecurity while also being a tech director, while also learning all of the ins and outs of running an IT department, and from being a tech to a manager and everything else. I've spent time at the state level working for the Virginia Department of Education as their CISO. I teach adjunct college courses in cybersecurity. Right now, I am the Director of Technology for Richmond City Public Schools in Virginia.
How big is that school district?
So there's about 25,000 kids, and it's an urban district facing urban problems.
Yep.
So anything from chronic attendance problems to, there was a murder last night, and kids are affected by that, to an ever-decreasing budget and ever-decreasing tax base as well.
And when we were small talking, you mentioned that first school, that was like 3,000 kids?
Yeah, so I really got my first directorship in a small district, 5 kids, 2,800 kids, or 5 schools, 2,800 kids, and gosh, that was on. I love the small district. I love being the person who had to wear all the hats.
Yep.
Right.
I think without even knowing you well, I'm going to guess that you would agree with this. The small school district problems and the large school district problems, there's some...
they're the same.
Yeah,
right.
It's scale.
It's scale is all it is, right? When I first went to a larger district, everything just had an extra 0 on the end, right? And the small districts use the exact same software. They have the exact same problems. They have the exact same concerns. It's just everything is on a smaller scale.
Yep. So let's talk about cybersecurity then.
Sure.
So, what is on your heart today with cybersecurity? What if I'm a tech and I'm listening, and maybe cybersecurity is not my major focus, and it should be?
Yeah.
What would you say?
So I've been coming to K12 SIX since the first conference, and Doug and I have known each other since before K12 SIX, when it was just a cybersecurity map and those kinds of things. And I had a conversation with him sometime last year, and I said, it feels like 10, 15 years later, we're still preaching the same message.
Yes.
And that message is you have to take cybersecurity seriously.
Yep.
You have to build the artifacts that are necessary in your district. You have to have the tools in place. You have to have the governance structure. You have to have the stakeholders who are helping you on your mission. And there are still people in the room this morning who fight me on that. I don't need that. I don't know why I need that. Or we don't have the money. We don't have the time, the talent, all those things. Yes, you do. You do. You can stand up an entire cybersecurity program for free. Mm-hmm. Most of a cybersecurity program is policy and existing people. You don't have to spend millions of dollars on an MSSP or MDR or any of these things. You can be better all the time. And cybersecurity is not an endpoint. It's an ever-moving goal. And you every day that goes by, you get further behind.
Yeah. I can think back Missouri way. For years, there was a group that I felt was preaching SPF and DKIM and DMARC for email security, and we felt like that session at those conferences was getting exhausted because we're just saying the same stuff again and again. But
there were always optional.
There were always people that didn't have that stuff going.
Like these things are not optional anymore. This is basic configuration.
Yeah.
Right.
And even back then, we would say you're not doing it necessarily for yourself. You're doing it because you want to be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
So whatever, if you think it's not going to happen to you, it's going to happen to your neighbor.
Yeah.
So how can you be a good neighbor?
And I'm speaking today. I'm going to be talking about school boards and their responsibilities in the cybersecurity program. And I have met with a lot of board members all across the nation, even that still feel like cybersecurity is just about password changes and making sure the kids don't hack you. And we have to change the feelings there. We have to change what people think this is.
Yeah. So to not spoil your
you can spoil it.
Your speaking.
It's not a secret.
Okay, what would be that advice that you give to the tech that she knows that school board is just talking about passwords? And that's
so one of the concepts that I talk about is the
we got some movement here. I'll throw in some noise. Did that help it? Kind of.
That was awesome. You did that all with your mouth. It was fantastic. So I'm speaking today to talk about this loop of, right now most tech directors go to the board. They say, hey, I want to spend this money on this tool.
Yep.
And the board says, I don't know what that is. And we have other priorities, and they don't fund it. I'm trying to teach this loop of going to the board and saying, I want you to establish policy that says we have to have a cybersecurity program,
Sure.
right? So that the next time you go to the board, you get to say, hey, this is your program that you asked me to establish.
Yep.
Now you need to fund it.
Yep.
And that creates enough awareness with board members or whatever your governance structure is,
Yep.
That they remember why they did that in the first place, and they see you implementing their governance request, and you're gonna get approved for that.
Yeah, that's going to feel correct.
Yeah. So when it's a top-down initiative, even if you're helping them develop the top-down initiative, it works. If you're always going up and begging and always saying, I need more money, always going up and saying, well, I need people to do this, the board doesn't understand that. They don't get it.
Great. Well, Tim, thanks for hanging out with me for a few minutes. Hope you have a
Absolutely.
great conference.
You too.
All right, I'm hanging out with the Doug Levin of K12 SIX. Doug, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Good. Things have been great. Looks like the conference is going well. I've experienced the conference going well, so congratulations to that.
Yeah, thanks. It's off and running. Started yesterday. The official opening is this morning, going all day today and into tomorrow. So great group. Everybody's excited
Yes.
to see everybody. A lot of people have been in the past. Some new faces as well. So yeah, really excited about it.
Yeah, it's a great community here, and it's a great cybersecurity-minded community here, which is needed in K-12 tech, and let's talk about that.
No, 100%. Like, that's why I'm excited by the work you do to bring your community together. We're a similar community,
Yep.
maybe a little bit narrower focus than yours,
Yep.
but overlap. These gatherings, whether they're national or they're regional or within a state, whether they're large or small, it's the only way we're going to get better. It's where we learn stuff. It's where
Yes.
we share. It's just so hard to do it if you don't, then I would say the face-to-face is also really critical. It creates that trust so you can have those conversations in between meetings and events and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was talking to someone today. So yesterday I did that because Mark bailed. I solo did a 2-hour workshop on passwords. And that's a lot. That's 2 hours of the word password. But I was talking to someone that did the session today. She was saying a quick appreciation for it. But we talked about the appreciation is in the room when we would do the question, to discuss how many, here's the best practice, and then what are you guys doing as boots on the ground, and to be open and honest. And then you start to realize that your neighbor is going through the same thing. What's your school culture look like, and that's needed with the in-person event and the sharing that takes place with that.
Totally, and that's actually a reason why we don't allow media.
Yes.
You guys accept it, I guess. We don't allow media at the event. We make sure to screen who comes to the event.
Yes.
Because if you don't have that trust on who's in the room, that stuff's going to stay in the room. Those conversations are dead in the water.
Yes.
And I think when I first started getting into this, almost a decade ago, the sector almost felt this subject kind of felt almost like Fight Club.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knew about it, but nobody wanted to talk about it out loud because you weren't supposed to, right? Maybe at the bar, late at night, you could say, we had this incident thing, and it was really not great, and I wish I'd done this, or if I'd only done that, or I asked to get funded the thing that would have stopped it, but it didn't get funded, and I can't tell anybody. Or I let people down, I feel so bad. It was almost like everybody was afraid to have that conversation. And I think that one thing that has definitely changed over the last few years is there's more people were more comfortable in talking about it. They realize it's not some personal failing of theirs. It's not that their school system is somehow unique. We're seeing schools large and small all across the country every week battling this sort of stuff. Sometimes it's the kiddos. Sometimes it's actually a professional cyber group, quote unquote, professional cyber group based overseas, just looking to turn a quick buck and take advantage of it. So, it's just great to get everybody together and kind of proverbially let our hair down and have some of these, really important conversations.
Yes, that are absolutely needed. So let's talk about, during the opening, you discussed several things. I guess just to pick it, what do you think the focus needs to be in a school district if the federal government money is not going to be there? What are just some things that you could quick hot take for our listeners?
So this is the thing. I think there's some sense that there's some magic tool or AI or something that somebody else is doing that's some magical thing. But even as we, have been tracking this for so long and seeing the recent trends, like basically the fundamentals matter more than matter the most of all, right? So it's stuff like securing your user authentication process, passwords, right? Where else can you come talk about passwords for 2 hours? But you've got to have insight and visibility into what's on your network. Have those conversations with facilities, with food service, with transportation, with HR. Shadow IT is always going to be a problem, right? But you've got to know what you have to support it. I think the way we see school systems compromised most frequently are those reused credentials, default creds, vendor accounts. Subs are a problem. Unfortunately, we started to see student accounts getting abused, which I'm sure you talked about. But the other thing is services that are exposed to the internet that are not patched or are not otherwise protected, right? So the quote-unquote edge devices, the firewalls, have been just getting hammered over the last 2 years. And I don't care what vendor, literally all of them, anything with an exposed management port to the internet is getting targeted, right? So I think that's something that we need to lock down. And the other thing that we've been talking a lot about is getting your cloud configurations and shoring that up, whether you're running Google or Microsoft or you're self-hosting something up in AWS or Azure or whatever. They give you enough rope to hang yourself. And also, I don't care the service, the settings are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to go through and audit that stuff.
Yeah, and we can banter a lot about secure by design, secure by default would be sure nice.
The next thing I was going to say, third-party risk and vendors. How do we figure out who's good to work with before? Can we shift some more of that responsibility onto them? Should we really be being asked to pay a lot more for security that kind of should have been baked in? These are core things. Unfortunately, those haven't changed. But I think what's exciting about here and about the work you're doing and others similar work is, if we can get to some consensus, we can make this change.
Well, a lot of what you just said, and this is the point of why you said it, I think, it was said during the panel, we can assume help isn't coming. There isn't the magic tool. There isn't the magic pot of money. A lot of the quick things that you just said are things that we can do with what we have. So look at your systems and lock them down without spending money, without adding another tool. Look at the standards that are available. Talk to your community members and see what they're doing to match those standards, and just do it.
Yeah, no, completely. And so I said two things. One is the goal should just try to get a little bit better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Don't let perfect. There's no perfect, and there's no end to this race, right? So you just always want to be doing continuous improvement and just get a little bit better every day. There's always more to do. Just don't get discouraged. Just keep going. Number one, but number two, while we may have the ability in our tools to turn on a setting that would dramatically, reduce the risk of the school community, it may affect people's workflows. It's going to affect a teacher or the superintendent or something. And so this is where it gets hard. It's not a money thing. It's not like a capacity or technical knowledge thing. It's actually an internal politics kind of thing. And I think in particular for our community, that's just a real challenge. We're not always at the table with leadership for this. And then we're used to talking tech and not like change management in a school district, and working with the teachers union or whoever else we need to work with. The first time the superintendent needs to log into something that doesn't work, and they call their secretary, and their secretary's like, well, we got to call down to IT or whatever. They're not following the process that you've set up. Like, stuff breaks and you're back to square one. So that's the challenge. There's actually we actually have a breakout session going on right now. Somebody who's sharing wisdom and lessons learned and trying to sell that. But that's something I think as a community we all need to work with, and it's always a challenge for us to get that leadership at the table with us. And we know we don't have them for very long. And we know they don't understand the technical side, but we don't want to scare them too much. We got to get their attention. So it's a challenge. I don't have any secret sauce or magic for it. I think we're all trying to figure it out.
1,000%.
So, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, Doug, we appreciate you. We appreciate K12 SIX, this conference, but just the big picture K12 SIX, the community here as well. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks to you guys. Thanks to Josh. Thanks to Mark. I don't know, Mark couldn't get out or
it's
something.
It's unbelievable, really. You're here.
I know, we made it. There's lots of people, Mark, who made it out.
I think he's the only one that didn't come.
I'm just saying.
Well, him and Michael Klein, those two guys, whatever.
Yeah. All right.
Love it.
Okay,
Thank
take
you,
care.
sir.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Anyway, David, this is David Waugh with Managed Methods, a proud sponsor of the K12 Tech Talk podcast.
Yes.
You come to the Midwest Tech Talk conferences with us. You're on K12 Tech Pro with us. I feel like I've known you for some years
Long
now,
time.
actually.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, we've been involved from the beginning, I think,
And you're like in the conference circuit. You're like everywhere.
You say circuit, I say circus. Yeah, it's definitely the conference traveling circus. In fact, even here at the conference at the K12 SIX National Cybersecurity Conference, live from Albuquerque. I should do my best Josh impersonation.
You should, let's go ahead and do it.
Live from Albuquerque.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, no. He's actually got it dialed in. But no, it's so funny because like last week, I saw Mark at Calais in Colorado. And Mark, you're not here. Loser.
Wait.
Yeah.
There it is.
Let's try that again. Mark, loser.
I felt like there was a boo.
This is what happens when you have all these.
Yeah, no, I can't get it turned off. Okay, here we go.
So your days,
loser, Mark.
Your days as a radio DJ are over now. Now, but it is we kind of all joke around the traveling circus, but it is almost like a traveling brotherhood and sisterhood. It's that. There was already this, last night, this morning, I've had several vendors. We just come around the corner and we laugh because we see each other and like, hey, because we just saw each other last week at, Calais in Colorado, or the week before that at IdeaCon in Chicago, or next week I'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina at NC Ties. And then the week after that, I'll be in California for AresCon.
And then you are not coming to our Midwest Tech Talk Security Symposium because someone else is.
Yes, exactly. So Skip will be there, who part of our Missouri team. So we will be there. I'll be there in spirit. But yes, I reserve my I have to save up all year long my energy for July for your summer extravaganza.
That's the big deal.
Yes.
So enough about me, David. Let's talk about Managed Methods. So Managed Methods is at a cybersecurity conference.
Correct.
That must mean that Managed Methods, the cybersecurity, and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to do this anyway.
The audience, yes.
Tell us about Managed Methods, because we mention Managed Methods all the time, and I always feel like we probably fumble the ball. It's good every once in a while to have someone that actually knows what they're talking about to come on and talk about it. So here you are, the expert.
We're here. So at the core of it, what we do at Managed Methods is we provide tools to help school districts gain greater visibility and control into specifically their Google Workspace, Microsoft 365 environments. You obviously know Google School District. We're the only purpose-built cloud application security platform that was designed for K-12 specifically, with out-of-the-box, pre-packaged, fully configurable, but out-of-the-box risk scans and monitoring capabilities that are meant for what a K-12 tech director has to do. Teams, obviously the vast majority of school districts in the United States, with an exception, and even here in this audience, are smaller. And I think one of the keynote speakers made a comment earlier this morning that, hey, nobody's coming to help.
Yes.
This is up to us.
Yep.
And so we designed a platform that was enabled right out of the box for school districts to not only first and foremost get a free risk assessment about their Google Workspace environment and the content, and not traditional risk assessments where people are looking at the dials and the settings and the knobs and whatnot. This is looking at what's going on inside the box. So we are monitoring 24/7 a school district's entire domain inside of Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 or both, where we look at all staff and student accounts from the Gmail box to the browser and everything in between. So you want to understand, hey, I need to see what kind of data is at rest in my environment that may present some potential risk, or what kind of data is here from a compliance data protection standpoint to say, okay, how many IEP files are being shared out of our Google Drive with just a global link share, or how many files are being sent out the door, that are just willy-nilly being floating around out there that are something we may need to have better data governance on. But then it's also flip it around to keeping the bad guys out. So we have advanced threat detection capabilities, scanning all inbound emails for phishing, malicious attachments, you name it, scanning all files that get uploaded. So it's a comprehensive visibility and control from the standpoint. So,
And all that you just said is the bread and butter, right?
Yes, that's our core brand, what people have known us for the better part of a decade. Easily a half a dozen or so customers roaming around in here today at the conference. In your home state of Missouri, we have a fairly large and growing footprint. 48 out of 50 states now, I think.
Awesome.
I think. But we also have some others.
I was going to say, tell me about the content filter, because that's newer to me to know about.
That's the newer piece, and everybody's going, what? We decided, due to popular demand and requests from our customer base, they loved our technology for student safety and scanning capabilities inside of Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. So they said, can you take that same technology to the browser, to the edge? So we said, sure. So we introduced a content filter, web filter, what you want to call it. Some people say SIPA compliant filter. So it's a browser extension-based technology focused on not the device per se, it's at the browser level, which gives us lots of flexibility and ease of configuration. And then, of course, we have a companion classroom management, classroom engagement solution as well. And it's part of the advantage of being newer into a very crowded space, because there's obviously a lot of vendors out there and a lot of good vendors. But being the new kids on the block, if you would, we have the new toys, the new tech. So our AI detection capabilities, the input, that's obviously one of the big things. Mark and I talked about that last week at Calais. That was all the rage of the topic, was the new playing field or the new wild west for filtering. Kids are no longer going into just Google and searching and then hitting a website. They're just interacting within the model.
Yes.
Whether it's Gemini, Claude, open it, even ChatGPT, if the school hasn't banned it, why not? And our stance on it is, don't try and ban it or block it. Kids are just going to find ways around it and make more nightmares for you as tech directors. Ours is embrace it, but have technology that has guardrails, and you can analyze the input that is happening inside that large language model. So then you set rules and policies to say, okay, you can use these things freely, but then if we see abuse or inappropriate usage, then we're going to take action. So that's the approach we've taken from the filtering perspective. And you think about it too, what is a tech director's worst nightmare is, educators go off to conferences and they come back, and the good old days, it was they still had to bring software back and install it or ask for permission. Nowadays, it's like, hey, look at this extension we just installed. We're like, okay, here you go. So embrace. So.
Awesome. Well, good talking to you, David. So check out Managed Methods at managemethods.com. And I know that they can also sign up for a free audit to get started with that, to see if it's going to be any good for them or not.
Absolutely. We firmly believe in take it for a test drive. Put it into your environment. It's look but don't touch. It doesn't impact anybody's. There's no latency. It's not impacting anybody's environment because it's just 100% API connected into the cloud. And we give a tech director, a bigger picture than what they've already been seeing, even if they have the paid tools that come from Google or Microsoft, which are good products. This just takes it to a whole nother level in terms of visibility and control.
Yeah, I know for me, I've heard great about, you already have, because maybe you're listening, you have other things in place, and you're wanting to do a comparison. We'll do the free audit. That's how you can compare.
Absolutely. Go to managemethods.com, click on the free trial, and we go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Hey, it's good to see you again, buddy.
You too. I'm hanging out with Oliver Page with CyberNut. Oliver, how's it going?
It's going well, thanks. How you doing?
You are a proud sponsor of K12 Tech Bro. I think you guys are coming to Midwest Tech Talk and doing the podcast with us as well. We appreciate that support. But you're at a cybersecurity conference, which means that you have a cybersecurity product and service. So I guess give me elevator pitch for the listeners that don't know. What is CyberNut?
Absolutely. So For those of you who have never heard of Cybernut, we're the first K12 focused cybersecurity and phishing training platform built exclusively for K12 schools. So really focused on developing a solution that allows districts to run really effective and gamified training to help your users learn how to spot and identify phishing. Been in the market just over 3 years, grown like a weed, just over 350 school districts in the U.S. partnered with us. And really excited to be making a dent in K12 cybersecurity, which, as we all know, is a very, very hot button topic.
It appears
right
to
now.
be a real thing because there's a lot of people here.
Exactly.
I can speak to Cybernut being different than the others because it's so K-12 focused. Our teachers get an email and it looks like a product that we're using in K-12, where a lot of the other solutions that are out there, it's phishing campaigns, but they kind of stick out because it's talking about some product that the teacher doesn't use. So it's absolutely K-12 minded.
Exactly. No, I mean, we're very proud to have you as one of our partners, a user of the platform. And like you said, the school districts, the faculty and staff need to be trained with content that they're familiar with, right?
Yep.
That is something that is a top priority. And also meeting users where they're at from an experience level. Training everyone at the same difficulty level doesn't make sense in this day. Phishing emails are getting more and more sophisticated, and so one of the aspects of the platform is we can actually personalize the training so that every individual user is trained at their own pace and level up in difficulty over the course of the school year. So we're not, the traditional gotcha trainings usually have that, doesn't really work that well, and that's why we have this person.
And I think I like you to speak to, I think we think about solutions like this for faculty and staff, but I know that you guys have the student component as well. If I'm a tech and I'm listening, I'm like, I already do stuff with my staff, but not my students. What would you say to that tech?
Yeah, I would say, look, I think it's critical to have the staff protected because they're obviously the key vulnerability from an actual cybersecurity standpoint for the district. A student email inbox that gets taken over is going to be less impactful from an infrastructure perspective for the district.
Yeah.
But it is, I think, the duty of school districts to now think about how they can better equip students for the real world. And when they enter the real world, they're going to get hit. They're going to be targeted just like everybody. So Cybernut's approach of student training is really trying to get in on the ground level, helping students learn how to spot phishing emails, identify the patterns, identify the trends of different attack modalities. We're talking about sending a student a phishing email that looks like a TikTok, right? Something that they're already familiar with and that they can relate to. And so that's really been a fun way to get people engaged and much more aware of security importance. In addition to trainings of emulations, we also have videos that are also effective for more traditional environments as well. And effective on AI, cybersecurity.
I think years ago or a year ago, and a lot of tech still will say, well, my student accounts, my email accounts are locked down or they don't receive outside email. But you just said a thing there where it's still our responsibility to train it anyway.
Exactly.
So whether or not they're receiving outside emails, how great for us to still go ahead and train them on what that email is going to look like for when the bad thing does happen.
And then, unfortunately, a lot of the partners that we partner with who have purchased a cybersecurity student product is they're also running into situations where compromised faculty emails are utilized to target students as well. And so, your free Xbox giveaway email that gets sent to the teacher, gets clicks. People actually engage with that. They do take a photo of the QR code with their phones and take it home with them. And now all of a sudden, you've endangered a student that just didn't know better because they've never come into contact with sort of email before. So I think it's not as common yet, but if we look to the next several years with the advancements of AI and the leaks that are starting to arise, a matter of time before every state, has some level of compliance requirement.
Awesome. Well, Oliver, good to meet you in person.
Great meeting you.
Check out Cybernut. How can we check out Cybernut?
You can check us out at cybernut.com, spelled like Cybernut. That's it.
Love
cybernut.com. And you can also book a demo or a free security assessment too. We have a couple of cool different options.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, Josh, what'd you think? What about you, Mark? What'd you think? Oh, just me here? That's okay. Let's give me a round of applause. I need a good pat on the back. Once again, here at the K12 SIX conference, it's been a great event and still going strong. Several days of focus on cybersecurity. It's good to kind of catch your breath and think about your password policy, think about your cybersecurity posture just in general, to talk to those that are in school districts the same size as you, as well as those in different sizes, and realize that you all have this common thing going on. You're all in this thing together, trying to figure out how to keep students learning, how to keep teachers teaching, while facing off against the bad guys. Sometimes that's little Johnny sitting in that classroom trying to figure out how to get around your content filter and your firewall, or he breaks up with his girlfriend and he had given his password, that kind of bit. Sometimes it's the bad guy externally trying to get into your systems. Funding is an issue. Staffing is an issue. But we're in this thing together, and we can do some practical things to try to take on cybersecurity. So if you haven't already, check out K12 SIX. I'm going to put a link into the podcast description of several of the things that they have available for free. If you're going through an account compromise, there's this resource that they have available of here's the checklist of things to go through. So I'll put a link to that in the podcast description. Once again, thank you to Doug. Thank you to the K12 SIX staff. K12 SIX is not just a conference. They do their membership thing as well. So check out K12 SIX, all their resources. But it's been a great conference here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
We might not be the same. You share the same pain that I do. We pray for sun, but we love the rain. Darkness is falling with the light shining through. I'll seek for hope and you suffer change. I learned to speak of my point of view. We were buying words about the phrase of the way, and selling songs just to stay in the queue. So in the morning time, don't hesitate, unwind. Reflect, create, even if it takes all night. What if your feet don't feel like dancing? What if your mind wasn't quite sure how to let things go? I'm asking. Your body's a hill full of egos mansion, and we made